Hello, everyone. My name is Tim Selden. I'm the president of the Montessori Foundation and chair of the International Montessori Council. And with me tonight are several of my colleagues from the Montessori Foundation and its affiliated membership organization, the International Montessori Council, and its affiliated Montessori Family Alliance. I'd like to introduce you Jonathan Wolf, who will introduce himself and pass it along to Christine. You're muted, John.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for your dedication to your children and your family and your schools. Thank you for taking time at the end of what has probably been a long day for you, like everyone. So hopefully we will share some things and you will share some things that will be helpful to parents. Good to be here. Christine.
Thank you. I'm going to pass it off for just a moment to two other people who are on our Parent Support Task Force team. Margot, would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
Good evening. I am Margot Garfield Anderson, the membership director of the IMC and kind of the production person for our parent magazine, Tomorrow's Child. And I will be looking in the chat area and helping Lorna with some answering questions that you might have. So good to see some names that I recognize and some faces I even recognize.
Thank you. Lorna?
Hi, everybody. I'm glad you're here tonight. I'm Lorna McGrath, and I am the director of the Montessori Family Alliance. And I'm so glad that you all are here. We are here for you. That is the whole purpose of the Montessori Family Alliance, is to support you through crises, through normal times, no matter what. We're here for you. This time of difficulty is a time when we want to further support you than we do maybe during what we would call normal times, if there is such a thing. We want to help you to get through all the different changes that we're going through, all the transitions, all the things that are happening in our communities and around the world. So that's what we're here for tonight and whenever we come on with these family support gatherings. So thank you for coming tonight. Christine, I didn't know if you were going to be here tonight, so I'm glad to see you.
Well, it resolved itself.
Yay.
There was an internet crash earlier in the day, but my heroes from Comcast got it repaired. So I'm happy. I am happy to be here. I'm Christine Lowry. I am a longtime special educator and longtime Montessori educator, and am now working with the Montessori Foundation and teaching some online courses for educators and for parents. And we have all been working very hard and very diligently the last, gosh, it seems like a month, but it's actually been a week, with school closings and everything that's going on. And we really wanted to hold these meetings for you to find out how you're doing, first of all, what questions you have, what you're needing. What are some things that the Montessori Foundation could do? You know, maybe meetings where we talk about something in particular that you're interested in or that you have questions about or you want to make comments about. So tonight really is about hearing from you. This is the third of our meetings like this. We decided to hold one in the morning, one in the middle of the day, and one in the evening to get an idea of what is the best time of day for the most people across the world, in particular in the United States. So I would ask you, if you don't mind, to in the chat box, just put what time zone you're in. We're collecting that data, and that'll really help us out. So just put in what time zone in the US or outside of the US that you are in.
And if you're willing and want to hear from us again, put in your name and your email address. You don't need to, but if we're happy to add you to the email list if you'd like to continue. And I might, as we get going, I ought to clarify a couple of things. One, Montessori is not some sort of international corporation. We're not the owners, controllers of Montessori. Our group is an independent nonprofit founded in 1992 to help create and sustain strong Montessori schools and to reach out to families around the world and help you figure this Montessori thing out, because it takes a lot of guts to send your kid to a monastery school, right? So we really try to have a sense of humor, appreciate you. We love your stories. Our magazine tries to celebrate it. And as this crisis developed, we reached out to all the schools to try to help and figure out what little we could do. And we're also reaching out to parents, families like yourself for the same reason. Back to you, Christine.
Thanks, Tim. So we've already heard from two groups of parents, and we've got some ideas of some of the concerns. And just to get the conversation started, maybe I'll take a moment to share a few of those. We've heard from a lot of parents, both in these meetings and elsewhere, that this difficult time when we as adults are all feeling stressed, having to work from home for many of us, and then on top of that, having our children at home with us, and that balancing has felt very difficult and confusing for a lot of people. So I'm wondering, to start with, is that something that resonates with some of you who are on the call? You can just unmute yourself and jump right into the conversation. You'll see that the speaker has a green line around their face, so we'll know who you are, and you can just jump in there. So, how are you doing with balance of all of this?
Yeah,
Well,
hi, this is
Hi.
Divya. I am calling from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and my son is I have two boys, 8-year-old and a 4.5 years old, so elementary and children house, and they go to the Waukesha School of Montessori. And I have a full-time job. My husband has a full-time job. Yes, it definitely resonates with us. So although we try to keep them busy, but it's hard, and one of the pain points is the school did provide some work for the second grader, and he's doing it, but you can only do so much at home. So yeah, that definitely resonates with us.
Thank you. Susan?
yeah, I mean, it's very hard because, this is Susan Richter. We're in Lansing, Michigan, and my child is in the primary. He's in the extended day care. I think it's just hard because I'm not a teacher. Like, this is not my choice, like I sit at the computer all day and analyze data, and that's what I love to do. So now I'm having to learn these skills. So it's hard, and I don't want to push him on things. We're starting to do more home work, like home stuff. But I then worry about him falling behind and stuff. So those are the stressors, and the balance between, doing something that is not my skill set, but trying to keep my child engaged in learning. So.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. Do any others of you want to comment on that? And then I think some of us Montessorians probably have a few things we'd like to add to that too, but we want to hear from you first. Anybody else?
I have a comment. I am a parent of Montessori children and also a Montessori educator, so I have both of those hats that I'm wearing. And even though I am an educator by profession, I am finding it difficult to balance the school and the work. And I mean, for us, it's devices, right? So I have a 5th grader and an 8th grader, and sharing devices. I'm on all these Zoom meetings trying to get our team on board to deliver education for kids. And then my kids also wanting to be on devices in order to do the schoolwork that their teachers are assigning. And so we're struggling with that. But I would say, I think it was you, Tim, that put something up just a couple of days ago on Facebook. It was a little poster or meme or something that said something to the effect of, don't worry about your children falling behind. during this time. They will survive. We will all get through this. Everybody is in the same boat together. If they miss a few things during these couple of months or weeks or however long this ends up taking, all the kids are missing that, and we'll catch them up. They'll catch up next year. We'll do what we need to catch them up. And in spite of the fact that I am aware of that and am an educator, it is hard to navigate the daily challenges. We had a little difficulty just within the last hour. My son was doing some work. He was getting frustrated. He was tired. It was towards the end of the day. He, and really had some difficulty. It is challenging. But I think it's important to remember our first job is to show that kindness and that love, and if they don't have a perfect day and they don't do all the work that their teacher assigned, that's okay. It's all right. We just need to be forgiving of ourselves and forgiving of our children.
Alex, that was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Alex is my son. For whatever reason, his name is showing up. So it's
whoops. Okay, so
Leslie.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'm Alex's mom. Yeah.
If you'd like, you can change your name. I think
I was looking
you
for
click
that.
on it, right, Tim?
I know that as a host you can. I've tried because I've changed other people's names, but I couldn't figure out how to do it for myself.
Tim knows how to do that. Can you jump in, Tim, and explain to people how to change their name if they want? You're muted, Tim.
Yeah, I'm actually sitting there trying to find. Tell me, Alex's mom, your name again.
Now Alex is muted.
Alex, sorry about that.
All right, now Alex's mom is muted. Okay, so it's Leslie, Leslie.
I'm looking for the meme you asked about.
Oh, thank you.
Hang on a second. I think what you're asking for is a permission on my computer, and I'll look for it. Allow participants to rename themselves. You can rename yourself anything you want, my friends.
There you go.
Thank you.
So, and I'm going to start uploading files. On the right side of your screen, hopefully you've opened up the chat panel. And I'm going to start looking for files that I think might be helpful to you. Not the things I would normally want you, because none of us as Montessorians want your kids on digital devices or doing worksheets or whatever. But on the other hand, whoever thought the world would change like this? So at the moment, our job is to make sure that we and our kids get through this. I mean, my mom started a Montessori school right in the midst of the Great Depression, 1932. And she always talked to me about how the best thing about it was that the kids kept her from going crazy, and she did a lot of good for a lot of kids. And I think we as parents have a real opportunity, because this is the moment in time that many of these kids are going to remember. And we want it to be something that's as positive as it possibly can be. Back to you guys. When you see files appear, just click on them and download them, and they should be fine. The virus, all that.
So, Leslie,
okay, go ahead,
I want to respond to something you said, Leslie, which I thought was really right on target. Because you have a background in education, that in a Montessori classroom, our first role is to see that children are safe, healthy, caring for themselves, what we call practical life and self-care. And we're really encouraging teachers and parents to make sure, as the caregivers for children, before we start thinking about learning activities, how are children receiving our energy? Are we appearing calm? Are we appearing positive? Are we appearing hopeful? Hopefully we have ways of processing our stress that are not rippling out and onto our children. So the first inquiry is really self-care. And the next thing we do in Montessori is build community with grace and courtesy lessons, or what with older children we call social norms, or the ground rules of the classroom. And this is where the idea, as Jane Nelson would talk about in positive discipline, family meetings. If there was ever a time for a weekly and sometimes a daily family meeting, how are we doing as a family? What's going well? What are some things we're really happy about? Is there anybody want to talk about something that they're a little bit scared about? It's really important that families don't get over amped on learning, because as Tim rightly said, Montessori children, when they reboot into the classroom, and even in some of these online things, they will learn. They are avid learners. What we want to do at this point in this early stages of this crisis is make sure that the children are really feeling safe and they are constructively engaged. It doesn't need to be learning. So in a sense, the learning activity comes after the self-care of adult and child and after the sense of family community.
I just want to add real quickly a couple of things, and then we'll go, and Lorna's got something, and then we really want to spend some time hearing from all of you. But the idea of falling behind is really not consistent with Montessori philosophy. Dr. Montessori talked about each child learning at their own pace. And so, you know, I think the last thing in the world that the Montessori teachers who are sending work and communicating, I think the last thing in the world that they wanted was for any of you to feel more pressure in addition to all of the pressure that we already have. So I think at some point, you have to decide what is best for my family, what's best for my child, and with the idea that they're not going to fall behind. They're as Leslie said, when they're able to come back to school, they're going to be able to move ahead. It says Rapid. I'm guessing that's not your name.
Hi. So
tell her your name.
My name is Zoe.
Hi, Zoe.
Hi. I'm actually an Athens Montessori student. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. What level are you in?
I'm upper elementary, 5th grade.
Okay.
So
tell us what you're feeling and thinking with this.
I have improved a lot since I've been in primary, pretty much, because I started out really slow and then I started getting faster because they pushed me a little, and I'm just like, okay, all right, I'm with you on this. And they're just like, all right, you keep chugging, on that train, okay?
I'm her. You finished?
Yeah.
I'm her Oma, and she lives with us. So it's been a challenge, of course, because I'm a mortgage lender. That's the reason it says Rapid Mortgage. I couldn't get on my personal computer, so we had to pull up Rapid's computer. But we had to bring my office home, and with that, I had to, be a teacher, a mortgage lender, a housewife, and everything, a mom, and everything else. But she has really done excellent. I mean, the teaching that she gets from Montessori has been wonderful. When her work came in, she said, "Oh, Ma, I've got this," and she's been working her schedule extremely well. So I'm really pleased with her.
That's wonderful, Zoe. And I know that it's a wonderful help to everyone else in your family too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Plus, I really miss my friends a lot. Yeah, it's really hard to stay away from them for a lot of time. So,
Zoe, you sound like so many of the children we're talking to across the country. Are you talking to them on digital devices like this? Are you having meetings?
I haven't recently. I mean, I might have in the past and forgotten about it. But I mean, I don't remember.
Well, she did FaceTime with a friend today.
Yeah,
which helped.
I did do FaceTime.
Yeah, that helped.
So.
That's great. Do you know our friend Warren McPherson, his wife?
Isn't his wife Levon?
Yeah.
Or yeah. He used to be my principal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He's retired now. Well.
Yeah. He was a really good principal, though.
Good man.
Anyway.
Hey, Zoe, thank you so much for adding your perspective on this. We really appreciate it.
You're so welcome.
So I'm going to go on to some. Lorna, you wanted to add something before we move on to more parents? You're muted. Lorna, you're muted.
There we go.
Lorna.
There you go.
There, that's better. I just wanted to add what John said a little bit ago about family meetings. I have to tell you that it is one of the most valuable tools my family ever had, and I've heard that from many, many others. Jane Nelson and Catherine Coles both are authors, and they have their own parenting courses, but they're all based on Rudolf Dreikер's work. And so both of them espouse family meetings. And I would say to you, in this time, they are more important than ever. They're something that you can do once a week at a time when all of you can be together, but it gives you an opportunity and a forum to talk to each other, to go over what's coming up for everybody the next week, to, as John said, acknowledge each other, have fun with each other. Family meetings are a great thing, and probably on one of our future gatherings, we'll talk to you a lot more about that and give you a lot more information about that. But starting with just sitting down with your kids and saying, you know what, things have really changed, haven't they? I don't know. I'm really feeling kind of like, I don't know what's going on. What do you feel like? And help them to begin to express how they're feeling, because that's going to be really important. And then the second thing I would say is go ahead and start to help them and you to daily routine, because that'll help all of us to feel better and safer and more together. And so plan that with your children, and even little children, 4, 5-year-olds, they will help you out with that. They will want to be part of that. So that's what I want to say about family meetings. And one more thing, I know I get carried away with myself, but one more thing is, I really want to stress to you all that we do not, the goal for these gatherings and for any future gatherings that we have is not to help you be homeschoolers. If that's what you'd like to be, and that's what you can be during this time, then there's a lot of information out there about homeschooling and how you do it. But that is not our goal. Our goal is to help you take care of yourself, take care of your relationship with your parenting partner, and create an environment that is supportive for your child. So those are the things that we want to work on with you. And if you're interested in that, then this is the place to be. I know we want to get back to listening to you. So I thought I saw, whoops, it says stresses and losing it. But yeah, did you have your hand up a while ago?
No, but I was looking to find out how, can you hear me?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Hand up. I am on the verge of crying, to be honest with you. I have an ADHD son and what I believe is an ADD daughter who expresses it different. Her lack of motivation to do anything, because I'm not the teacher. And then my son is so out of his element that it's just hard for him to focus on the medication. We got nothing done. I'm very stressed.
And you know what? That's probably okay. There are going to be days that they're not going to get anything done. Now, were you able to work while they were not getting anything done?
I don't have to work now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You know, I mean, I think that's the thing that we're all trying to say here is that, in fact, I just got done writing an article and sent it off to Margot to put in the next issue of Tomorrow's Child about, you know, you as the parents are the experts about your child, and you're the experts about your home and about your family and what you all need, right? And I know that you're getting a lot of help, but if it doesn't feel like help, then maybe let it go for a little bit. You know, I don't know where you live. If you have nice weather and you have a place where your children can go outside and play, and still stay the distance that we're supposed to be staying away from other people that we don't know, you know, spending time digging in the dirt, taking a walk, or better yet, taking a run if they could do that. You know, I think what can really help is if we help our children find what they are interested in right now. And that's what we would do as Montessori teachers. We teach to the child's interest. Yes, we have a curriculum. Yes, we have a sequence. But what we're really doing is not making children get work done. We're giving them opportunities to get work done by thinking about what it is that they want to learn. So with your children, you know, that might be something that you sit down and maybe you have a family meeting in the morning and you say, what do you guys want to do? What would you like to learn about? What would be some fun things that we could work on together today. And the only other thing I wanted to say to you is that you're not alone in feeling like you want to cry. We have heard that from a number of other parents. So that can be a really isolating feeling when, not that it feels good to know that misery has company, but if it feels good, misery loves company, and you're not alone. And that's part of why we want to hear from all of you is we're going to follow this up with gatherings, with topic specific conversations to have with you. So John, I see that Andrea might want to say something too at some point.
Can I just respond to one thing you said there for just a moment in response to your thought there? One of the things that really calms children down in a Montessori classroom of all ages is practical life activities. Things that they can do to contribute to the community. In this case, it would be things they can do that can contribute to the family, take care of the household. So one of the things you might want to talk about in a family meeting is, we have a lot of things to do to take care of our house, and we need some helpers. And children can do all sorts of things. They can help prepare food. They can help you clean things. They can help you do yard work. Getting children physically active and helping them feel like they're contributing to the family sometimes can get them very constructively engaged and sort of suck up some of that restless energy. And it also gives them a sense they have a sense of purpose, especially in a time when things are a little bit like that.
All right. Can I just ask, how old are your children?
7-year-old boy and 10-year-old daughter. And I think I just want to give a shout out to Kate Winters, who's on here. She's our head of school and she's awesome. But I think the thing is like, if we're on vacation, then we're on vacation. And then we're going to do we're just going to be easy, but it's not vacation. So in my mind, I'm stressed about being easy.
I wonder if you could think about how to balance your day, and maybe a couple of hours of the day would be, this is going to be your work time, and let's together figure out what it is that you want to learn about. And then the rest of the day is, because, one of the things that Dr. Montessori said, right, was that a child's play is their work. And so there's not, I know that your children are a little bit older, and I know that you want them to be doing some academic kinds of things, but maybe check in with them about what their interest is and see if they would want to pursue that for a little bit.
Kate Winters wanted to respond.
Thank you, Jen. And it's great to see my families on here. But one of the things I've been coaching parents that have called, or that I've had reach out to parents, is not to focus on what you need to get accomplished each day, but celebrate the small things that you do accomplish. So like Jonathan was saying, if one of your kiddos helps make dinner, celebrate that might be something new and different for them. Or if your older daughter can figure out how to double a recipe so that instead of making it for 2 people, you're making it for 4, she's getting the math she needs. It is our job as educators when they come back to find out where they are, meet them there, and then go from there. But while they're in your care, and depending on the little bits of time that we have with them, really just focus on celebrating the new things that they're doing, the engagement that they have with what you're doing. I can't stress enough the family meetings and the check-ins, just how are you feeling? For them to hear that you're stressed too, gives them a sense of that you're respecting them and that you are giving them, a chance to kind of support you as you're supporting them. But don't focus on all the things you have to get done. It really is just supporting them where they are.
Great.
Thank you, Kate. Yeah, that was wonderful.
Really,
yes.
On the airplane, they always tell you, if oxygen drops, oxygen pressure drops, put on your own mask first, because you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of everyone else. Every child in America is pretty much out of school right now. And I don't know if you know what the International Baccalaureate is. That's sort of the roughest, toughest, most competitive thing in education. And they basically suspended all exams this year around the world, saying these are not normal times. But more than that, education really isn't built like a house, one brick at a time. It's a dance, relationship between parent and child and children and teachers. And we're guides. We're not shoving education into them. We're helping them to discover.
Yeah. Do others of you have other concerns, other things that you want to share? I'm keeping an eye on the time.
Yeah, if I could say something really quick.
Sure, Zoe.
So I have like a daily schedule where I would like do maybe 2 hours of work after breakfast and then go eat a little snack and then do another hour of work. Then I would eat lunch and then I would read. Then I would go outside and play for about an hour. I would come back in, cool down, and do whatever I want for the rest of the day. So, and I was kind of in that depressed state. So, it was probably because I was cooped in so much. And I just went outside and it all just poof, went away. So
Thank you. That was wonderful. So that might be stressed and lost. That might be something to talk. You could even say to your children, there was this girl that on the call who is a Montessori student. Here's what she suggested. I wonder if you all would like to do that too. Thank you, Zoe.
Thank you, Zoe.
I want to add
you're so welcome.
something. And this one thing is that, again, back to homeschool. If you have ever talked to homeschoolers, you probably know that about 1 hour a day is spent on academics. Mm-hmm. And the rest of the day is about, home chores, going out on field trips, playing at the park, because when the studying is so intense like that, you don't have to have 5 or 6 hours of it. You only need a small amount of it. So don't stress about, oh my gosh, they're in school 6 hours a day, so I must have to teach them 6 hours a day. No, that's not where it is.
Because we don't teach them 6 hours a day in a Montessori school either.
Hi, this is Erica.
Hi, Erica.
Hi. Both my husband and I normally work from home, and having our daughters home that are both fifth years is not new to us. And we've been on spring break for this is our second week. So next week is when the rubber hits the road. And we were talking about it in our family meeting of, now we have to teach you something we don't know. Like, I don't remember the last time I've done the stuff that they're doing, let alone now they have a reason to be on technology, and now I have to monitor it more than I ever have. And so I love everything that's being shared here, but I think there's a little bit of this empathy towards stress and losing my mind, folks, that there's a reality here too. As a parent, they can't go outside and play. I'm in California and we need to stay inside. I can't send them to the park. We live in a neighborhood surrounded with kids, so they're tortured. They're very social, like Zoe, and want to be with their friends, and they can't. So it just adds a tremendous amount of stress. And so I have to show up for my clients and be professional, but then turn around and be like, okay, how's it going? I'm looking on IXL. You haven't done your time. And then it's like, it's a little much. And I know if I exhale and I think of rainbows and unicorns, then I can probably get to where you guys are. And because you do this, you're experts at this. This is your day job, but this isn't my day job. And I didn't grow up in Montessori, so I don't even know how to even guide them in a way.
Well, one of the things you can
Montessorian, let alone separate from being a parent. So I guess no, it's okay. I'm pretty much done.
I'm sorry, you froze for a second, and so your audio feed.
Oh, sorry. We ran for the hills. We're in the mountains. We're RV camping, and so our Wi-Fi is super spotty.
Oh, fun! Yeah. Again, this idea. I was thinking about it the other day. I don't know if this would help anybody or not, but the reason that we're feeling pressured and we've got to teach them and they've got to learn and all of that is because it's March. But what if it was July? would you feel that same pressure? And we don't know if school, maybe this will get made up by kids going to school in June or July. We don't know those things. But as a Montessorian, I know that when it's the adult who's saying to the child, you have to do this, this, and this, and this, that it's not as successful as sitting down with a child and saying, let's look at some things that you need to work on. Let's look at some things that you would like to be, that you're interested in and that you would want to do. And we're capturing that internal motivation of the child. And then it becomes the child's wanting to do this rather than us externally saying, you've got to do this. That's where that pressure feels, comes from, is feeling like we've got to make them do certain things. And, I don't know if one of the reasons that you chose to put your children in Montessori is because you didn't want them to have that kind of pressure, but it's just something to think about. Other thoughts, other concerns, Don?
I'd like to respond to something that Erica said. So, there would be a natural tendency initially to go, look, they're not connected to their friends. They're not connected to their teachers. They're not connected to the Montessori materials. They can't go outside and get exercise. And that is a natural response initially. A lot of parents and teachers are beginning to start to think about, okay, if we know that children need physical exercise, but maybe they can't go outside, is there something we can figure out to do as a family, either individually or collectively, to do some exercise? Is it dancing together? Is it yoga together? What is it that could constitute exercise? So how could we adapt the need for physical movement and exercise to our family? And that can be with older kids like your children, an actual community problem-solving discussion. On the social side, a number of parents and teachers are setting up Zoom meetings with the kids in that classroom, whether it's facilitated by the teacher or facilitated by a parent, or just like we can see each other here, all the kids can have a community meeting and hang out and spend some time together, and it feels like a Montessori community meeting. So thinking how we can translate the children's needs into the current environment makes it more of a creative process than if we stay, forever in, wow, this is really different. What do I do? And that is an initial response we're all going to have. Eventually, let's see if we can help the kids move toward, well, how do we solve this problem? How do you get your social needs met? How do you get your physical needs met? How do you get your learning met? And kids can be involved in those discussions at that age.
Tara?
Yep, I've been doing Zoom with my 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. So in the morning I do my 3s and my early 4s, and I've done 2 a day in the morning. And then in the afternoon I do my older guys, my kindergartners, and my late 4s and my 5s. I do 2 in the afternoon with them, and then at 4 o'clock I do story with the whole group. And the first time that I did the Zoom, it was crazy. We had 25 kids, but and it looked like your screen that you're looking at. But the fact that they saw their friends was just, it brought tears to my eyes that they saw each other. And have we done Montessori work? Yes and no. My little guys, I found out I can't scan sandpaper letters. But I was able to get on and print off, letters, and I did 3 letters with them in the morning, and I sent them all to their parents so they had them, and they colored them, and we've done 6 letters together in a group. It's been amazing. My kids in the afternoon, I actually just found on, I forget what website, counting chains. So I'm scanned them and I'm sending them to the parents so the kids can start counting chains at home. We've done yoga. We've done, I made the family all do a project together. They went out over the weekend and they made nature mandalas using rocks, sticks, whatever they could find. I sent them a picture of what an outdoor mandala looked like. And the response out of probably 25 kids, I think I got 23 stunning mandalas from everybody. So you got to be a little on the creative side, but the Zoom does work. And if you can't do Zoom, do yoga. Do there's another app that's out there, something Noodle, and it's these three guys that
Noodle.
are dancing, and so there is exercise out there.
But I love that you said be flexible, because learning is everywhere. Learning is whatever environment we're in, learning can take place if we think beyond the book and the worksheet and the, those things that we had when we were in school, because most of us, Zoe's lucky, she got to be a Montessori child, but I don't know how many others of us got to be a Montessori child. But think about that learning is happening all the time, everywhere, wherever you are.
And Christine, as Zoe herself pointed out, Zoe, you said it so beautifully, that you miss your friends. This is a time when families and young people are feeling isolated. So anything we can do to use online technology to have students connect with their friends, connect with their teachers, parents connect with their teachers, it is about building community first. The learning will happen, but right now we need to counter the social distancing with online connections.
And stressed and losing it, I lost it last night. And I have one home from college and another one home from grad school, and we're in a small place. My living room looks like a Montessori classroom tornado. And it's a lot. It's
a lot.
It is.
It
but
really is.
When I see those kids' faces in the morning, it brings me joy.
So what are some other things, we're hearing common themes here, the difficulty balancing work with having your child at home and feeling the pressure to be doing homeschooling. It's like, that's a whole job in and of itself, and you got work to do anyway, right? And you got a home to run. So we're hearing that balancing as being a concern. We're hearing the social isolation being a concern, particularly for our children. And what are some ideas and some ways that we can help them bridge that virtually? What are some other concerns? We've got about 15 minutes left. I'm wondering what other topics, concerns are coming up for your parents.
Yeah, I have.
You go first.
Christine, can I pop in for just a second? One thing that Jonathan, I want to reiterate that he was sharing is that the children, follow our reactions. So don't hesitate to say, I need a minute. Children don't have to have your undivided attention all day long. To step away and say, I'm having a really hard time. They've heard that before, whether they've heard it from their leads, their assistants, other members of their classroom, to say, I need just a break. Let me go breathe. I'll come back and we'll talk about this. The more you can just step aside and give them that example instead of losing it or getting so stressed in front of them, like that is the key. And that, if that's the only lesson they learn in this 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 9 weeks, however long that is, how huge that is, that they will be adults that will say, I need just a minute, let me go get my breath, and I'll come back and we can talk about it. And don't worry about whether they can add with the stamp game or whether they're counting their chains or whatever. If you empower them with that skill over this amount of time, which just through setting the example, that is huge and so much more monumental for their future and their growth. So please let the academics sit to the side and focus on being that example of handling stress.
Thank you, Kate. Other parents?
Yeah, I had a comment to make. I agree with some of the comments that were made, including Jonathan, and just recently a couple of parents made the same comment about getting the kids involved with other activities. We did yesterday. I was able to work from home along with my wife. So what we did during the afternoon, we did some exercise together, and they were all involved in that. I have 2 boys, and then I also did a small cooking lesson where we created a video of a cooking lesson, and then we posted on a social networking site so that other people in our community can see that and what we are doing, and everybody's interested in that. But my question is also, what would be a long-term solution if this, God forbid, it does take longer than a month or two to actually get to where we were before this? What would be our long-term plan to accommodate some of these things that we already indicating in this session here? Well, how would the teachers would get more engaged? Like some of the people mentioned about having that session with the class, with all the kids, and I thought that was a really good idea. And as a matter of fact, we kind of suggested that to our school as well, that the kids really need to see their friends, because school is their second home, and they need to see their friends and their teachers. It's not just about that they're learning in the school, it's also that they used to interact with their kids, and they need to see their kids, their friends again, so that they know it's this is all normal, and that we're not really asking them to stay home in this four walls. They still can see their friends and interact with their friends. So I was just wondering, if it does stretch, what would be recommended plan?
Well, I think that's one of the things, is that have you been able to suggest to your school that they do something like that using Zoom?
Yeah, I think they're going to start that for at least for the older child, and they have been giving some packages already to send home, and they are working on that. And for the younger one, they have given some package. I would have hoped a little bit more, but at the same time, getting the kids engaged with other friends that they used to seeing.
Right.
And also with the teachers, I think that's probably more valuable than the actual packages that they're getting.
This has been a learning curve for all of us, and it's been a learning curve for Montessori teachers. And because states have closed at different times, there are different groups of teachers that are in a different kind of cycle. But part of what the Montessori Foundation is doing as well, as part of the Montessori Collaborative, is supporting teachers too, so that ideally all of you come together with your teachers, and that there's a give and take, and you can suggest to them, hey, how about if you just did, I heard the other day on a school that has a Zoom meeting at lunchtime, and the kids just get all online and they eat lunch together and they talk, and they're just, there's no formal lesson or anything. It's just a chance for the children to get together. So, it's happening. And I'm glad that you've mentioned that to your teachers.
Christine, many of the schools in the states that got hit earliest and hardest, like my state, Washington State, California, the schools are developing a long-term plan to try to answer your question. It's really focused on three things. More things that teachers can do in terms of actual community building and lesson presentation for elementary and secondary students, more online learning. For younger children, that would be more community meetings and circle time. So one is more teacher delivery of online curriculum and community experiences. Also for the younger children, putting together some materials care packages as soon as the teachers can get back to school, and actually have some materials that can be put together that can go out to the home, especially for the younger children that need the manipulative. And lastly, teachers in these schools have talked about what ideas can we give families, even though you are not teachers by trade, things that you can do as a family that will also have learning components. And the schools that are most ahead of it, because they had to be, because of the infusion of the virus in their state, they're thinking long-term along those three parameters.
Okay, others.
If I could just take a moment or two, I'd like to talk about what I've been uploading. These are just sort of random files from my computer that I thought you'd enjoy. I thought you'd get a kick out of the last one I just put up, which the Montessori Foundation staff was wondering what happened to it, and we found it. It's basically, a story from back in 2012 about what success, why are Montessori kids so incredibly successful in the world. This is from Korn Ferry, the world's biggest headhunter group. Anyway, I've been sharing resources. You feel free if you want to use them, don't use them. We all are basically saying the bottom line is the schools weren't prepared for it, you weren't prepared for it, your employer wasn't prepared for it. We're all really going through a process of trying to figure out what's happening, what's going to happen next, and how can we take care of ourselves, the people we love, particularly the children we love who are the least able to understand it. And whether or not they lose a month of school is the least of the worries. The real issue is taking care of your family, taking care of yourself. And we know that stress could get pretty tough. So I have a quick question for you. Have you ever taken a course in parenting strategies? For example, one of you was saying, I took a course in positive discipline with Jane Nelson, but have you ever taken a course in how to do family meetings and how to get your children to do what you want them to do? And how do you deal with them when you'd rather trade them in for a new model, as Lorna would say? Lorna McGrath is one of the nation's really great parenting educators. That's a terrible word. No one wants to hear that anymore. You're not being educated. But basically, she's got a toolkit right along with Jane Nelson and Jane Bluestein and Catherine Coles. And there are lots of great people out there. And they're all pretty much trying to tell you similar things, but usually you have to go take those courses in person. And Lorna did create a course at the foundation for members of the Family Alliance. And if you want, I'll share the link with you. You can just look it up. It's called The Parenting Puzzle.
Mo, you had something you wanted to add.
What I've been thinking about as people have been expressing their stress levels is that, especially about getting their children academically prepared. One of the things that I think is really important to consider is taking the long view. So if you can take yourself and you can put yourself, imagine yourself as an owl up in a tree, looking down on this whole situation and thinking, whoa, what's going on here? Taking it from a different perspective and thinking, what is my child going to remember about this moment in history? We are creating history. Nobody has done this before. What do you want them to remember? A stressed out parent who is tearing their hair out because they can't get you to do the work you're supposed to be doing? Or do you want them to remember that you took the time to sit with them and talk with them about their feelings about what's going on and how they're processing it? That's what's important right now. Whether or not they get that math or that letter sound is really immaterial. This is a significant shift in our world and our consciousness and everything that's going on. And it's important that we give it that credence and pay attention to that.
Right. Because
Thank you. Go ahead, Zoe.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to add a little something.
Oh, you're fine.
So yeah, I wanted to talk about the pressure on everything. It's like no pressure at all. I mean, if you don't get something done that day, you'll just be like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Your teachers are like, okay. And in my classroom, we had something called a work plan, and they would give us a sheet and we would write down our plan for the day, what we were gonna get done. And mine was filled with tons of stuff, like SRAs and MathWorks and history cards and language and all that stuff. And my teachers are like, Zoe, are you sure you're gonna get this all done? And I'm like, yeah. In a matter of 3 hours that they give us a day, I'm just like, yeah, I do 5 things an hour and I'm perfect. I'm golden. So for all the parents out there that are doing Zoom right now, I just wanted to say, if your children are feeling down, the best thing that you could possibly do is bring them outside and have some interaction with them. And maybe shoot some hoops or do some playing together, do tag, you know, get on FaceTime with their friends. And yeah, so you could, that's the best thing to do. Because I was on FaceTime today with my friend Manalena, and you want to know how long we talked?
How long?
An hour and 30 minutes.
Wow.
No.
Yeah, we missed each other so much.
Oh.
Zoe,
And
have you ever written an article?
Yeah.
What you're saying would make a great article for the Montessori Parents Magazine, Tomorrow's Child. We'd love to have that.
Okay. She can do that. She can do
Zoe, do we have your email so that we could reach out to you and we could give you Margot's email? And you really, seriously, you could write something and send it to Margot.
Mm-hmm.
We'd love to have you do that.
By the way, the chat is that you can see with all those links and things. First off, if you want to hear from us by email, put your name and email in. You don't need to, but you can. And if you want to save this chat so that you have a record, you can save it right to your own computer. And the way you do that is on the chat window at the bottom, next to on the right side, next to the word files, there's 3 little dots. You click that and it pops up a little thing that says save chat to my computer.
Nice. We got it. I'll put it in. I know how to do it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll let her put it in.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you
So we have just a couple of more minutes. If anybody has a thought that they have not been able to share yet, please unmute yourself and hop right in there.
I'm going to unmute myself and hop right in there.
Okay.
One thing that I wanted to mention to folks is that for future gatherings, please keep looking at the Montessori Foundation website, which is www.montessori.org. We'll be letting you know what times and what the topics will be. I also want you to know that for future gatherings, we'll never just talk, the 3 or 4 or however many of us there are, we're never going to just lecture you. We may have a topic that we'll focus on, but there will always be time for you to tell us and update us on what's going on and how you're doing and other topics that you'd like us to cover. That's really important to us. You guys are the most important thing to us. We also have a Facebook page called the Montessori Family Alliance, and that will also have updates on gatherings and other kinds of things that we're going to be offering. I also do a live Tuesday webinar that is also mentioned on Montessori Family Alliance Facebook. It's free. You just have to register. I do it every week. I have guests come in, and all of the topics are geared towards families and parents and kids. So please, please, please use those resources. And
can you repeat the first email?
The first one, the Montessori Foundation website, which is www.montessori.org.
By the way, a lot of this is in the chat, and there have been files that uploaded. Now, you don't need to download any file that you don't want, but I'm not sure if after the meeting ends, you'll be able to do it. You can download some of those PDFs and the cute little image that I put on Facebook back a few days ago that one of you was mentioning. By the way, I found a really cool thing that's in there if you want it. 2000 edition, the year 2000 edition of Montessori 101. You can actually get that. It's a pretty interesting kind of a double issue of our magazine, Tomorrow's Child, that sort of explains Montessori and talks about the materials and, you know, just something really aimed at parents that we do every few years. So Margot, you wouldn't believe I found that.
So thank you, all of the parents who joined in tonight and shared. And I love that you have changed your name to Hopeful-ish. All right, way to go. That's fabulous. I hope that you will join us. We, as Lorna said, we'll be advertising other meetings like this, so you'll know where they are and when they are and all of that. And I would like to welcome our newest panelist, Zoe, to the Montessori Foundation.
Thank you for your help tonight, Zoe. Very helpful.
Fantastic.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And good luck with your next phone call with your friend.
Thanks.
Your next FaceTime. And to all the Montessorians who added your wonderful comments as well. Thank you so much. We will see you very soon. And you can stay in touch with us on the Montessori Family Alliance Facebook page. You can always put a post. You can always write comments. And we will respond to you there. So thank you. Have a great rest of your night. A good rest of your week. Breathe. Have fun.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Christine.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Zoe. Bye, everybody.